All right, look, you haven't been able to miss the coverage of Singapore if you've been anywhere near any kind of electronic device. Many of President Trump's supporters on TV and in Washington are absolutely elated about the sit-down with Kim Jong Un. But when President Obama once said that he would agree to meet with our enemies, including Kim, he was dragged through the mud by the same crowd. Not to mention, he was vilified for his nuclear deal with Iran, and now they look to be trying to get the same thing with North Korea. Same on restoring relations with Cuba. Donald Trump attacked him as saying, you can't tolerate this kind of oppression. Then he meets with Kim Jong Un, and there's nothing in that letter about human rights violations. Double standard? Listen to this. This is from Now This News.
Would you, as president, meet with the leaders of a country like North Korea? Obama extraordinarily said, I'd meet with them.
Senator Obama made his intentions crystal clear on the campaign trail.
I will meet not just with our friends, but with our enemies.
President Obama likes talking to dictators.
He would meet with some of these madmen without any preconditions.
You know, I'm going to reach out to these crazy people around the world and try to get things done.
Yeah.
I think that's a mistake.
Obama is bowing and scraping before dictators.
A remarkable turnaround in relations.
Great debate. Van Jones and David Urban are here. Dave, the whiff of partisan poo-poo is in the air, my brother. What happened to all of that crushing criticism about meeting with dictators and no preconditions, no way? And then this, and everybody's happy.
Well, Chris, there's a lot packed in that segment right there, right? What you're talking about. You're conflating lots and lots of issues. So let's just take a step back. You know, Cuba doesn't have nuclear weapons aimed at the United States, you know, capable of reaching the United States. Let's just step back and take a look at why we got here and how we got here, right? This president did not have the luxury that other presidents had and just simply kicking the can down the road, whether it was President Bush, it was President Clinton, Bush, 43, President Obama. All those gentlemen had the luxury of a lot of time to sit back and ponder what might work and what might not work. This president was faced with a direct and immediate threat to our country and lots of other of our friends as this this rogue regime developed nuclear weapons capable of ranging their countries and possibly our coast. So President Trump was in a completely different situation than any other president in history dealing with this issue.
Van, do you see it that way, or do you see President Trump as someone who took brinkmanship to a whole new level, using gangster speak and trash talk, telling North Korea that they were about to get both barrels?
Yeah, look, I definitely see it differently. First of all, let's just take a step back. If you want to take a step back,
let's take a lot of steps back. Let's go all the way back.
Yeah, you don't have to go back years and years. You can just go back a week. Apparently, now we live in a world where Canada is our enemy. Canada is terrible, and North Korea is wonderful, has wonderful leadership. So we're in this whole completely topsy-turvy world where our friends are now being positioned as our enemies as our friends, and you cannot deny that the level of just rank hypocrisy on the part of conservative commentators, I mean, they literally are falling all over themselves for a deal that's not even a deal. It's a deal to think about getting a deal that might have something in it that we don't know what it is, and yet the Iran deal, which is a real deal, which the entire world got together on, is considered trash. I mean, the whole thing is just complete partisan hypocrisy.
Dave.
Hey, so listen. The Iran deal was terrible. Not just, this isn't just rank Republicans saying this. This is Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. If I had the list in front of me, I'd read you the long list of Democrats, establishment Democrats, progressive Democrats, lots of Democrats who thought it was a terrible deal. It did nothing to do. Wait, hold on, Van. You talk. It did nothing to address. It did nothing to address. Nothing to address their missile program, and more importantly, it did nothing to address the IRGC's spreading terrorism around the world.
That wasn't a part of the deal.
That wasn't a part of the deal. And look, you didn't even talk.
Right, exactly. That's why it was a terrible deal.
Human rights violations. Hold on a second, Dave. And Trump didn't make human rights violations a big part of what they discussed in Singapore, right? You don't try to accomplish everything at once to your own. That's your own argument.
It just started, buddy. It just started.
I totally get it. I totally get it. But if President Obama had gone there, and I'm not a big false equivalency guy, but sometimes there's no other way to access the hypocrisy. If President Trump had gone in there and said, yeah, I mentioned Otto Warmbier. I said he didn't die in vain. We talked about some of those things, and there was nothing on the piece of paper that they signed that called out this guy as potentially the closest thing to a true genocidal force in the world today in that leadership position. What would you have said?
Right. So do you... No. To what point, Chris?
There's only one I'm making.
Sorry.
If Obama had done that, and on that piece of paper, there was nothing saying that this guy has
Chris,
to stop doing what he's doing, what would you have said?
No, I would have said it's a start. You can't expect it at the beginning. I criticized the Iran deal after the deal was inked, not during the process. Let's see where this process plays out. I don't think you're going to get a deal. The president's not going to walk away from Otto Warmbier's parents. He's not going to walk away from the hundreds of thousands of people that have died in concentration and labor camps in North Korea. No, he hasn't. He just began.
Can you imagine what would have happened if President Obama had gone to a dictator like this, a brutal, genocidal thug like this, and said, "I'm honored to meet you"? I mean, he literally just kind of did a little head nod at an Arabian.
I wish President Obama did, because we wouldn't be dealing with it now.
I thought it was my turn.
He shook Raul Castro's hand, Dave, and you made it sound like he took him to the prom.
I was just about to get to that point.
You own the whole group when you're on this show, my brother. It's how it works for both of you guys. You got to take the whole right, and Van's got to take the whole left. He'll have his time. Don't worry about it.
I'm on CNN, not on Fox.
And we're happy to have you here. Yeah. All right? But look, here's what we're pointing out to. Van, finish your point, please.
But listen, the language matters. Positioning matters. I remember when I think Bill Clinton had to go and get somebody from North Korea, or maybe it was Al Gore had to go get somebody I can't remember which one it was.
Bill Clinton went there to deal with the two journalists.
Right. They were friends of Al Gore. They were journalists. Bill Clinton went over there, and he made sure he had the most dour countenance the entire time. He didn't even want a photograph of him smiling next to the person. He was sending clear signals. This is a horrible person. I am doing this for political expedience. He didn't say, "You're honorable, you're great, everybody loves you." If President Obama had used that language, it would have been bedlam across the political spectrum, and rightfully so, because you don't praise and flatter butchers. You don't have to be rude, but you don't have to set the tone and the tenor that all you have to do in this world now is go and get you a couple of nuclear weapons, and you can do whatever you want to your people, and you'll get the President of the United States flattering you in a way he's never flattered half the United States population.
Again, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what this president gets versus what President Obama did with the Iran deal and totally ignoring Hamas and Hezbollah. Listen, the IRGC is directly responsible. The Iranian IRGC is directly responsible for the deaths of the Marines in the Lebanon bombing, and we did nothing about that.
Then you can't do a nuclear deal with North Korea without having them stop their human rights atrocities.
Exactly.
They're going to have to. It's going to have to happen, Chris. You're right.
Well, listen.
The UN estimates there are roughly between 80 and 120,000 refugees, prisoners in their labor camps.
And those are just the 4 camps we know of.
Right. And they're being tortured, and it's horrific, and it's been happening, since when? Since the 50s. The United States has turned a blind eye. Shame on us. And the rest of the world has turned a blind eye to this since the 50s. We've done nothing.
Chris.
Why all of a sudden is it President Trump's problem today? Where's it been last year, the year before?
Because he's president now. It doesn't work like that. You don't have presidents until this administration. You've never had it where it was okay to say, we didn't start the fire. It's always been burning since the world's been turning. So we're going to leave it alone. We'll do what we can, but it's not our problem. You would have never let a Democrat get around. Hold yourself to a higher standard, just like you would the other side.